Minnesota, yeah, I mean, we'll have the quarterback conversation about Minnesota. I think it's all over the place. Football Analysis, a.k.a. Garrett, was in the chat earlier. He was subtly talking about 9 and the issue that they might have.
9 to 5.
Being the laughing stock. It just drives me crazy, man. I can't escape it. Like, it does not get worse than that. There is no, like... I don't have anything else to say, man. I don't have anything else to say. On the NFL Stock Exchange, they're going to fix the Vikings later. I will be seated for this, absolutely.
Welcome to the opening bell of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. Shout out to Garrett.
Yep.
Now part of the cold open farming. Garrett had it in his week 13 recap of the NFL. I went back and I watched the clip about the Vikings because Tyler, our incredible producer, was like, yo, Garrett's crashing out live on YouTube right now about his Vikings. And so I tuned in for it. You guys should as well. After you listen to this podcast, make sure that you go listen and subscribe to everything that Garrett's doing over at Football Analysis. But we are here to pimp the Minnesota Vikings. Connor, this is by popular request.
That's right.
We get a lot of people who are like, hey, like, can you fix this team? And it's like, yo, you got 9 wins. We're not
we're not fixing the Chiefs.
We're not fixing this team. And I thought that was going to be the case with the Minnesota Vikings, but buddy, they have fallen on some tough times here. So we're here to evaluate everything. We're here to evaluate 9, a.k.a. J.J. McCarthy. We're here to evaluate Kevin O'Connell. We're here to evaluate Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and how we can get the Minnesota Vikings back on track. We're going to give you a full plan for it. Connor, there's a lot of layers to this one. I'm excited for it. How you doing, my friend?
I feel good, man. Yeah, this is a little different, right? It's not all the time you get to look at a roster that's pretty good, that has star talent, a head coach that was the talk of town 6 months ago. There's so much here to work with, but it's, for obvious reasons, we have a big quarterback discussion on our hands. What are you saying?
Jeremiah in the chat said, pimp my 9.
Pimp my 9. I saw that. Dude. Yeah. That's what we're here to do. Pimp my 9.
Brother. That's an unbelievable comment.
So good. So good.
Dude, there are so many things to think about. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat right off the bat here on this one. We had a couple of 100 people right when we went live. We love you guys. Maybe it's because we're late. Sorry.
We are late.
But we're going to pack
Apologies.
as much as possible into this show here because there is a lot to go over. The Vikings, we'll go over the record. We'll go over, where the coaching staff and the general manager stand. We'll look at the roster because right now they are $30 million in the red heading into 2026, but we'll come up with a plan to fix all that. We'll get into the draft as well. We'll give you guys a Vikings-centric 3-round mock draft at the end of the show. But yeah, let's start with some super chats as we always do here on the show. Kyle, $5 super chat. Love you, appreciate you. Trevor's face is me when the morning coffee starts to hit and there isn't a bathroom nearby. That is the thumbnail face he is referencing there, which is another elite thumbnail from the cook himself, Tyler Cook, our producer. So appreciate you, Kyle, with the $5 super chat here.
Skylar Timmer, thank you for the super chat. Imagine Arvell Reese and a Brian Flores defense. That should be a crime. That'd be terrifying.
That would absolutely be terrifying. Yeah. That would be like the first round version of Ivan Pace Jr. All due respect.
You're not like, giant gap, but I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're talking about, which is freaky.
Jay Berg's $5 super chat. Just draft Luke Goatmeyer and the franchise will be pimped. All jokes aside, going to miss that guy on Saturday. He's done a lot for the program. And then just Drake May at the end, which, of course. Yeah.
Goatmeyer in the snow got Illinois to 8 wins. Man, that wasn't fun. That was not fun.
You had them at over 7.5? Is that what you said?
Which the odds, were not. I was playing deep in the minus territory. Couldn't lose that one. Didn't lose that one. Ricky New York Live. Better cowboy name for the sheriff in an old Western. Red Murdoch or Brew McCoy?
Ooh.
That's good.
This is some deep draft knowledge because Red Murdoch right now, defensive lineman for Buffalo, he leads the country in forced fumbles.
I think it's Red Murdoch is.
I think Red Murdoch's the better sheriff name. Yeah.
You could ask anybody on the street, hey, Is Red Murdoch a football player, or was he in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? And they would be pretty stumped.
Yeah, that's actually that's
or Tombstone.
We might be onto a TikTok here.
I'm
not really a TikTok creator, but we're
weren't YouTube boys for a long time, and we became YouTube boys.
Out here trying.
People can change.
People can change. People can. If I can change, you can change. Kyle, $5 super chat.
Everywhere.
The ultimate KOC quarterback is KOC himself. Need to see him suit up next week. It'd be better than Max Brosmer.
Yeah, it would be.
Do you think? I mean, the answer is obviously no.
It just reminds me of who is the manager on SmackDown that's the meme that like you just got yourself a match with the Undertaker?
Is it Eric Bischoff? Is that who you're talking about?
No. It's another one.
Oh. What is his name?
The chat will know. The chat will absolutely know immediately. Teddy Long.
Teddy Long. Thank you.
Teddy Long, you just got yourself a match with the Undertaker. I feel like Kevin O'Connell sending Max Brosmer out there to die. Somebody should come out and say, Kevin O'Connell, you just got yourself an NFL start next week.
You're not near it. You're not being nearly dramatic enough for Teddy Long. This dude would walk out and he would just say, because he'd say player a lot. And he'd just be like,
holla, playa.
For that comment, playa, you just got yourself a red hot date with the Undertaker.
The Undertaker.
And the crowd would go nuts. That was actually one of the best
you get to go one-on-one with the Undertaker, playa. God, Teddy Long entering the pod today. This is off to a roaring start.
Never thought that we'd get here. All right, couple more. $20 super chat. T.R. Landrum said, as a guy who farms for a living, game respect game when Trevor farms 6-7 and Connor farms cold opens. As a Vikings fan, every quarterback has played like the guy you call Squirt in his family turkey bowl. Please pimp this franchise. We absolutely will. And then the last one here from Wade, $10 super chat. We'll get to as many of the rest of them as we can, guys. I promise we'll keep reading them, but we got to start talking about the Vikings here. But Wade, we got to start pimping. Wade, $10 super chat said, want to thank you guys / the community for being a comfort in recent tough times, but just landed a full-time internship with the Minnesota Twins.
Hell yeah.
And the pod powered my first half marathon. Hour 54 and 27 seconds. Wade. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Can we get nonstop W's in the chat for Wade finishing the first half marathon and getting the internship with the Minnesota Twins? We appreciate you being here, Wade. If what we can do on this podcast can give you a little bit of joy during life. And I had somebody else left a comment on that as well, saying that like, hey, they've been going through a tough time. This podcast, this community has really, really helped them out. And that's the coolest stuff to read. And I responded to that person and we always will. Like if we can bring you a little bit of joy while we sit here and talk football and NFL draft prospects.
Holy W's.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
Awesome. Wade, future GM of the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, we love to hear that. We absolutely do. All right, let's dig into it, brother.
Yeah, let's get to it.
How we got here with the Minnesota Vikings, currently sitting 4-7 on the season. We've got 4 years now with Kevin O'Connell. So we're 4-7 this season. They were 14-3 last year, made the playoffs, obviously lost the last game of the season, regular season last year, did not get that division title, had to go on the road, and then they lost their first playoff game as well. There was then the whole debate of like, what do you do with Sam Darnold? He played so well for you, but is he going to crumble in those big moments? They end up letting him move. They end up moving on from him because they had JJ McCarthy waiting in the wings, who missed the entire year due to, it was an Achilles, right? He tore his Achilles, I think. Knee injury, Achilles
McCarthy?
Injury. Yeah.
Torn meniscus.
Meniscus. Missed the entire year because of that. And so there was a big cloud of uncertainty of what do you do? Ultimately, they stuck with JJ McCarthy. They let Sam Darnold walk, goes to the Seahawks, and Darnold's obviously playing really well with them. Before that, they were 7-10 in that year, in which they didn't start off very well, but they got hot in a couple of games before Kirk Cousins ultimately suffered that season-ending injury. And then the season before that, first year of Kevin O'Connell, which, by the way, you got to remember this about KOC. In 2021, he was the offensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams when they won the Super Bowl. So he was the hot commodity. He comes over to the Minnesota Vikings, boom, right out of the gate, 13 wins, 13-4. Kirk Cousins looks incredible. The team's playing incredibly well, and they just happened to end up losing that first game in the playoffs to the New York Giants, who also had that really good year in 2022. I think there's a lot of things that go into the Vikings struggling this season. Connor, I thought this is one of the best teams in the NFL on paper. I thought their starting lineup and their starting 22, if you will, from defense to offense could hang with any team in the NFL. And if J.J. McCarthy was even the Michigan version of J.J. McCarthy, I thought that this team was going to compete in the toughest division in football, had a chance to make the playoffs and really make some noise. But that is just not what has happened with this team. And obviously it centers around McCarthy and his struggles this year.
Yeah, you see a little bit of a pattern here. Obviously, a little bit of an every other year situation for Minnesota under O'Connell. But
right,
this is the thing with the Vikings. If you listen to, predictions, over-unders, all that, I'm sure most of them predicted some form of regression for this team because they won 14 freaking games out of 17 last year, first off. And second off, no matter how much talent they have and they were able to retain their coaching staff and all these great things, they were going to be dealing with, in a sense, a rookie quarterback, in his first year as a starter where there'd be growing pains. The problem is they haven't gotten remotely competent quarterback play. And I feel like the narrative around O'Connell quickly became that, because not just Sam Darnold, but in a instance, whether it was Josh Dobbs or Nick Mullins or whoever
right,
in his offense, he started to get the Shanahan, which was like, well, you could take a bottom 20 percentile quarterback and hope he average under Kyle Shanahan. O'Connell started to get that reputation, and I think it was well-deserved for what he had done, but maybe in hindsight, it also took a little away from what Sam Darnold was doing last year and the development curve that was clear with J.J. McCarthy, where he has a really long way to go. He was not playing and practicing last year because of the injury. So it's not like he just had all these reps, but he just wasn't the starter. He was literally out for the year, and it's kind of collapsed on them, unfortunately. So now they're in the weird spot, and we're going to have these larger conversations in a little bit here, not at this exact moment, but what do you do if you're Minnesota? Because the reality is with this team, they are an extremely talented, expensive roster. They have a really bright offensive coach and a very bright defensive coordinator that honestly I thought should have got a head coaching job last year. And we'll see if he gets interviews this year. And timelines in the NFL are one of the most difficult things to align. And the Minnesota Vikings had most of their timelines evened out. But the one thing they did not have aligned was the quarterback. And it has completely pulled the rug out from under them this year.
Yeah. I think, with JJ, the thing with him is he's going through the regular progression of what you would think a young quarterback would go through right now. And that's really frustrating, compounding to what you just brought up, because the rest of the roster is there to win right now.
Without a doubt.
The rest of the roster is not there to develop this quarterback. And the hope was that Kevin O'Connell himself would get J.J. McCarthy up to speed very, very quickly, much like he did with Sam Darnold, and that you would be able to sort of slingshot him into being a capable quarterback in a winning window for this team. The problem is that he looks like a young starting quarterback. He really struggles to read the field right now, especially when it comes to deep coverages, when teams are rotating from too high to single high to different looks of cover 6 or just cover 3. Like, he just does not have a good feel for attacking deep down the field. He doesn't have a ton of patience either. And the problem is that I think that JJ is just seeing everything very late right now. You mentioned he didn't get that first year. It's not like he was getting any sort of reps. He was on the sideline. He wasn't getting any reps at all whatsoever because he was hurt. So not only was he not getting like the mental or the walkthrough reps, certainly he wasn't getting the game reps. He was not getting anything. So this year, you see the fundamentals are very out of whack and sort of just, I'll say, inconsistent from him. And the reason why is because he's seeing things a second late. And so when you see things a half second or a second late, well, then you think, shoot, now I got to put some extra juice on this pass to get it to where the receiver is before the defense descends on the ball or descends on the receiver. So now you're just putting your whole body into it.
Constantly.
You're trying to get that ball there a little bit quicker. And that's where a lot of the inaccuracies show up. So when you compound that with the pressure that he now has. Now, at the beginning of the year, yeah, there was pressure, but I think that he still could have had the ability to play more free. Now the problem is, now he feels the pressure of being a first-round bust, being somebody who wasn't worth the pick, being somebody who's holding back a team that is otherwise a playoff roster, because we saw it last season. And I think this now also goes into it with J.J. McCarthy. Justin Jefferson's probably pissed as hell. And so now you've got the franchise player, one of the best offensive players in the NFL, and one of the most recognizable talents in the NFL is pissed at you. And I think that all of this goes into J.J. McCarthy struggling. And I say all of that to say a lot of this is explainable. The problem is there's no guarantee it gets better. You can say to yourself, hey, he's a young quarterback. He will improve. It's obvious that young quarterbacks go through these kinds of growing pains. It's okay. And I agree with you. But at this point in time, Connor, I know we'll get to building the roster in a little bit, but you can't go into next season with just J.J. McCarthy.
No way.
No way in hell. You have to add some sort of other quarterback presence here because it has gone that poorly. His passing grade is that poor. His pressure to sack ratio is that poor. I believe his turnover worthy play to big time throw percentage ratios are that poor. He is struggling as bad as any quarterback in the NFL right now. And in a lot of categories, he is either bottom 3 or at the bottom. And I just think that we've gotten to the point where I hate to kill the kid for it, because I still think he is a young quarterback who is simply learning and has talent to potentially be a starter in this league. But as weird as it is to say, you're running out of time in Minnesota to be able to do that. And I think that when he gets back from injury, the last couple of games of this season are going to be very, very important for him going into what will be a pivotal 2026 season where he's going to have competition anyways, no matter what.
That's exactly right. They just can't afford going into the year without an insurance policy. And the reality is they're going to get into camp. And I would imagine whoever they add to this room is going to be given a chance to win the starting job outright, because it's just not a participation league. And they need to do what's best for all the other guys in that locker room and the staff.
It's hardly a developmental league.
It's not.
As it is, let alone you getting drafted to a playoff caliber roster.
That's exactly right. And McCarthy, you know, he's an interesting case because he was a 2-year starter at college, especially I thought that 2022 season, his first year as a full-time starter when he was a sophomore.
Yep.
They really didn't want him doing too much. He threw for 2,719 yards that year. They put a little bit more on his plate the following year, but nothing overwhelming. And you look at his draft class, you know, it's a little bit of a different story for some of those guys, especially Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix that started a lot of years in college at multiple programs. But even what Caleb was asked to do in college and what Drake May was asked to do in college compared to JJ was a different scenario.
Drake had so many big-time throws, man.
Yeah,
just
Drake was
so many.
And Caleb, his defense was so bad, it was like, I got to go put up 40 today or we're going to lose.
Yeah.
JJ wasn't in that environment. And here's the draft grade right here. I didn't like this draft. I wasn't very high on Dallas Turner and compare. I have to check my actual, I just had them open. I thought taking JJ 10th was, I mean, all I could do is really read my rankings for this. So, I stand corrected. I don't think taking Dallas Turner in that spot was wrong. That's right around where I had him. The McCarthy pick, who I had JJ as a second-round player, and they took him 10th, and that just happens with quarterbacks. Like, it just happens. But they traded capital to the Jets to get him because they started to panic as the quarterbacks came off the board.
Right.
And this is the type of stuff that, unfortunately, can set you back. And I really stand. I don't know why I had Dallas Turner 14th, so I'm an idiot. I don't know why it was that. It was just McCarthy.
Well, I'll tell you why you probably have like a negative connotation.
They traded a ton to get him. I forgot that's what it was.
They traded a ton up. And we'll get to that because I see a lot of people saying in the chat like Kwesi is a bigger issue than JJ.
Yeah, I have a lot of problems with him as GM.
We are going to get to a full Kwesi breakdown here in a second, but just getting back to JJ, because I know that you guys enjoy when we do this, because it's one, it holds us accountable and it's very transparent. And I think it's all part of the conversation here. When I watched JJ McCarthy, I wasn't the biggest fan of him. I still had him as somebody that I thought obviously could be a starter in the league. I didn't have him super low on my overall big board. I think I had him like in the 20s or something.
Right.
But there are categories that I like to put quarterbacks in as these translatable moments where I feel like you have to play well in order to succeed at the NFL level. One of those is on like 3rd and long situations, 3rd and 7+. You know, who are you when you need to go out and win it with your arm? And JJ actually had a pretty good passing grade on those situations. There just wasn't a lot of them. Even when I put him in another category that I like to evaluate quarterbacks in, intermediate, middle of the field, right? So 10 to 19 yards down the field, in between the numbers. Who are you when you're that quarterback? JJ, 91.6 passing grade. Executed things pretty well. One big time throw to 2 turnover-worthy plays, but that's sort of like the ratio that you get with anytime you're throwing the ball in the middle of the field, you're going to put it in a little bit of harm's way. But you have to, the whole point of me doing that is because you have to do that. He had 38 first downs when doing that over a 2-year sample size. But the thing is, Connor, he graded out pretty well. Grade under pressure, 70.9, which is really solid. Avoiding negatives, 15.1%, which is 68th percentile for quarterbacks. Sack rate, just a 4% sack rate. That's 74th percentile in a really good way. So you put JJ in all of these categories in Michigan, and he grades pretty well. And the film reflected that. The issue was, he just didn't really ask him to do it a lot.
Right.
The sample size or the just overall volume was low. And you're playing in an offense where you have full confidence. You feel great about your offensive line. You feel great about the run game. You know you got an elite national championship winning defense behind you. I think it's a different mental game for him at that point. So all that to say, like, what I believed in sort of the numbers that were there for J.J. McCarthy during his 2 years when he was a starter at Michigan, they showcased a guy who could be a starter at the NFL level. And like I said at the very top, if Minnesota was getting Michigan version of J.J. McCarthy, I think they're winning ball games. The problem is they're not. They're getting a player who is second-guessing himself, feeling the pressure, not seeing things the way that he needs to. And now all of his fundamentals are kind of going haywire as well because he thinks he's got to make up for it. So that's. I knew we'd have to have the J.J. McCarthy conversation right off the top of it.
It's the crux of this.
Yeah.
They're 4-7 because of their quarterback situation. It's not just JJ because they needed a better plan than going to Carson Wentz and then Max Brosmer.
Right.
That's on the GM. But JJ is a large piece of the pie of why things have gotten to this place this season. And you know, honestly, not to tie it to the Jets, but I covered the 2023 Jets, obviously doing pre and post game. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt immediately, blah, blah, blah. That team, like the Vikings, was essentially built to win, right? They had a very strong defense that Robert Saleh had been building for a while. They made enough moves on offense. They felt like with Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, they liked their skill talent. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Zach Wilson has to play. And Zach Wilson was playing at exactly what we've seen from J.J. McCarthy. That team that was built to win with Aaron Rodgers goes 7-10. 7-10. Defense fights their ass off every single week, man. But the dam breaks when you get nothing from the quarterback position. And then the run game starts to falter when teams know you're getting nothing from the quarterback position. And the Vikings are kind of in this situation where they were going into the year with McCarthy, so it's different in that sense. But when you're getting that level of quarterback play with a roster that was built to win now, it could still bottom you out, as we're seeing. Not bottom you out because they have 4 wins, but this is like they're at their floor, right? That's what it feels like with them.
Yes. Yeah. With this roster, for sure. Last thing on McCarthy, because I want to start to talk about Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, their general manager. But Teddy gave us a $10 super chat, which we appreciate, Teddy. Thank you. And this is topical here. JJ played in an offense in college where they barely had him throw the ball. In hindsight, is that something that you guys would care more about when scouting, or do you think that it doesn't really matter?
Absolutely matters.
So I think that we answer that question a little bit there with McCarthy is like even how I look to I like to put quarterbacks in certain situations to see who they are in situations where I know that you're going to need to step up in the NFL individually. And even in those situations, McCarthy played well. And I thought that was kind of enough. And so for me, I think I will take that into account even more now moving forward. But it's not like we haven't already. Like when you look at a wide receiver, what's their threat percentage? What's their yards per route run? When they're on the field, does the team emphasize them as the main receiver? Because if they do, they're probably pretty damn good. Same thing with running backs. How much of the carry load do you carry, right? Are you somebody that the team's going to lean on in certain gotta have it, third, fourth, goal line situations? Are you the guy that they want out there? Like there is something to be said. Now, college to NFL, game plans, certain coaching staffs, all of that. It's not like a specific mold that you have to fit every single player into. But generally, Connor, if you're pretty good, they're going to find you the football, and they're going to want to get you the football constantly, and they're going to want the football in your hand. And I think that there were a lot of reasons why you may have been able to brush off that wasn't the case for McCarthy. Harbaugh didn't want to put the ball in harm's way. They had an elite defense behind them. Harbaugh was always going to run the ball because he knew he could control it and it wasn't a risk. They had one of the best offensive lines in the country. All of these excuses existed. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to take meaningful reps that matter. And I just don't think that J.J. McCarthy got enough of them for him to succeed early. I want that to be very clear.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here. Not the fact that J.J., well, I don't want to speak for you on this, but for me, it's not the fact that J.J. can't be a good NFL quarterback. It's just these are now reasons why you wouldn't think he will be good right away. He still has more learning to do. And I think that we're seeing that now with the Vikings.
Without a doubt. And the injuries, hampering development, there's bad luck to that. But you also do become concerned when it starts to become a trend. Where it's just constantly like, okay, you missed the season, torn meniscus, all right. But this year, you've now had the ankle, you've had the concussion, the little things start to pile up. And it's not like, oh, you're injury prone because you got a concussion. All these quarterbacks are getting them. But it's the fact that he's a guy that, Trevor, it feels like he can't afford to be missing much more time.
Yep.
Because he's got to go through almost this trial by fire, we think. Right now,
as crazy as it is, he's running out of time in Minnesota now,
without a doubt, because this is want to just take this to the Kwesi conference. This is an easy transition to Kwesi.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Let's talk about their general manager, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who a little bit of a background on him. He's got his bachelor's degree in economics from Princeton, has a master's in economics from Stanford. He was the Niners.
Just stacking up degrees from top-notch universities.
Well, look, man, there's a reason why
this guy loves school.
Teams were.
This guy loves attending class.
There's a reason why the NFL was really hot on this dude when he became a legitimate general manager candidate. Niners manager and director of football research from 2013 to 2019. Then he was the Browns VP of football operations to help them with all sorts of things in 2020 and 2021, and then became the Vikings general manager in 2022. Now, just to make sure that we've got the timelines correct, remember, he was hired in January, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah was, and then...
The chat.
What?
The chat. I just look at the chat, and it's absolute geek. This guy runs the lunch. Nerd. Dork. Dweeb. It's just...
Come on.
Hey, he's a rich ass nerd. So hate on him all you want. This fella's got the job that we all want and the money that we all want. So good for Kwesi in that light.
Very true. We salute him for getting to that point.
What's
we really
next,
do.
Young Sheldon.
So that geez.
Sauter is just out of control. All right.
The next Young Sheldon, he said. So he takes the general manager job in 2022. And I'd like to look at draft history from him first as the next slide that we have here. Can we go back, Tyler, to 2022, actually, which was his first draft class? Because, Connor, this is ugly. This is one of the worst 4-year stretches that you can name for a general manager. And that's why we have the door open to having the conversation of if this dude is back next year for the Vikings, because the way that they have drafted, simply put, has not been good enough. Lewis Seen, very quickly off the team, I think within 2 years. Andrew Booth, it might have been 2 or 3 years. Ed Ingram, not on the team anymore. Now he's playing for Houston. Brian Asamoah, gone after 2 or 3 years. Caleb Evans, not on the team anymore. Ezzy, not on the team anymore. Ty Chandler is, but he's on IR. Lowell, not on the team anymore. Jalen Naylor, obviously, like this was the hit.
That's the guy.
But here's the problem. You had all these draft picks. You got one hit. It's a 6th round. One hit. Now, we're going to talk about draft trades for him in a bit because I want to break down the draft value that he has had with all these wheeling and dealings he's had, but not quite yet. Just 2 players were on this class 3 years after the 2022 NFL draft. They were in a spot where it was a new general manager and a new head coach. So they traded back a bunch because they wanted to acquire new picks, in theory, to get their guys on the team. The problem is they didn't pick good football players. They picked guys that were either hurt or just weren't good enough, because a lot of these guys, even if they were hurt throughout the early parts of their career, they just straight up were not good enough. This is one of the worst draft classes that you will see. Let's go to 2023. The
simulator on autopilot could have done better.
Unfortunately so. Jordan Addison in the 1st round. Okay, Jordan Addison. Obviously good for you. Mekhi Blackman, not on the team. Jay Ward, backup safety. Jaquelin Roy, not on the team. Jaron Hall, not on the team. Dwayne McBride, not on the team. You have one hit. You can say Jay Ward was a 4th round pick and he's still a backup safety for you. So if you want to call that 2 hits, you can. But we're, once again, 6 picks here because you traded some of these picks to have a smaller class this season. You have one hit, and it's Jordan Addison. You have one hit at a position that you already had Justin Jefferson.
Right.
Not ideal. Let's go to 2024.
Don't love it.
Let's go to 2024. You trade up for J.J. McCarthy because the quarterback carousel is going crazy that day. So you trade up for J.J. McCarthy. You trade up 5 spots and a lot of draft capital to go get Dallas Turner. And then it's Kyrie Jackson. Tragically, obviously, rest in peace to Kyrie Jackson. Walter Rouse, who's still on the team, but doesn't really get looks.
Shrine legend.
Will Reichert, good.
Hey, got one.
That's kind of your hit. Michael Juergens, backup center. Levi Drake Rodriguez, okay. Like, I think that he's solid as well. But you got what? Dallas Turner's kind of turning into a hit, obviously. You know, like if he continues to play well. But even then, like John Grenard's the best defensive lineman on the team. You kind of would have wanted Dallas Turner to be that. Now it's complimentary, so I don't want to be too harsh here. But you look at this draft class and you go, oh, man, for everything that they gave up for that draft class, especially the fact that Walter Rouse isn't getting looks with offensive linemen who are hurt. Will Reichert you feel good about, but that's that. It's not looking like the aggressiveness from that draft is going to pay off for them.
No.
And then in 2025 last year, both you and I gave this draft a C. You gave it a C-, I gave it a C. And the reason why we did is because you sat here at 24 and picked Donovan Jackson, who I can't hate too much on it because I even said on the draft grades episode when we did it, this sort of completes, in theory, what could be one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. But I believe it was only 2 picks later, the Falcons gave up a 1st-round pick in the future to move up to go get James Pierce Jr. You could have had an extra 1st-round pick to move back, and you probably said no to that. So that I don't love. And then you don't have a 2nd-round pick because of how aggressive you were in trading up for Dallas Turner the previous season. Then with your only day 2 pick,
this is bizarre.
You picked Ty Felton? The bizarre. One position you didn't need? What?
And guess what? He doesn't play.
He doesn't play.
He's got one catch.
And now we're going to get to the free agency part of this. And Jalen Naylor's a free agent. And I've seen Vikings fans be like, yeah, we should bring back Jalen Naylor. He's playing really well. He's got good chemistry with JJ McCarthy. You can't do that. You just drafted Ty Felton in the 3rd round when you had no day 2 picks.
Dude.
If they bring back Jalen Naylor to be wide receiver 3 on a second NFL contract after just drafting Ty Felton in the 3rd round, what are we doing?
Dude, it's insane.
That's about as bad of a 4-year stretch as you will see from a general manager drafting.
Well, he also uses draft picks as toilet paper. I mean, the Adam Thielen trade this year, it's like, let me just take a 4th round pick and light it on fire. The capital used to go up for JJ, the capital used to get Dallas Turner. The asset management with this organization, they've done some good things in free agency, but the asset management, specifically draft capital with this organization, is arguably bottom 3 in the league. I'd actually feel pretty confident writing that in ink.
And didn't they? What did they give up for Adam Thielen earlier this year?
4th.
And like just let him go. Well, it was a 4th, but they got something back. They got picks back in it, so it wasn't like completely. I think, if I remember correctly, giving up a 4th.
I'll get the exact terms.
But you got nothing for Adam Thielen. That goes into exactly what you're saying of the draft capital management of this team is one that.
All right, here it is, Trevor. It's actually worse than I thought.
Oh, geez. Okay. What is
they traded a 5th this year and a 4th for 2027 for Adam Thielen, a conditional 7th this year and a 2027 5th.
Okay, so you're getting something back both years, but still, I mean, you very clearly
massive swaps though.
I know, I'm with you, and very clearly, like that's negative value because it didn't work out.
He did nothing. He was cut.
Right. So, yeah, man.
But isn't the point of Kwesi? If Kwesi's bad at drafting, which he is bad at drafting, we just showed you, isn't one of his strengths supposed to be the compiling and usage and understanding of draft capital in a surplus that can make up for you not being a good drafter?
I'm very glad that you brought that up because for this episode, I gathered some information for Tyler to make a separate slide, which looks at the draft plus or minus value for all of the draft day trades that Kwesi has done over the last 4 years.
That photo is
now look.
That's funny.
I am sure that the Vikings have their own value chart. So we are going off of Draft Tech's draft value chart, which is a baseline. It's not the Bible. So the numbers that we're seeing here, you don't have to take them as law, but they are guidelines here in an experiment that I was very curious of exactly the question that you were asking. The whole reason why you would have Kwesi Adofo-Mensah as a general manager is for this reason, to understand draft pick value and be able to quantify it in a way that gives you an edge when you are trading draft picks, when you are acquiring certain draft talent, like normally the return on investment for a certain position is this is sort of our need. This is how this goes into the formula. I think that the whole reason of why you would hire Kwesi is for that. And when you look at things, it just, if we're just going off of the draft tech value draft chart, which you guys can find if you just Google it, it's not like he has a lot of plus value. The only spot where he really has plus value is in that 2024 draft. And the only reason why I give him plus value there for the Dallas Turner trade is simply because I am operating under the baseline rule of when you trade future picks, you're like taking the round and subtracting a round when it comes to the value.
Right.
But if I don't do that, like if I just take the value of what was the 2025 third and the 2025 fourth, that is also a negative value trade for Dallas to trade up for Dallas Turner. So you have negative value trading up for JJ, which, look, it's a quarterback, kind of is what it is.
Yeah, you're going to
negative value trading up for Dallas Turner. Overall net negative value in 2023, and I believe it's overall net negative value in 2022 when he did all of this crazy moving up and down and all this wheeling and dealing. That 2022 draft where we went away thinking, whoa, Kwesi's the master draft pick dealer here. It's kind of close to negative value from our standard chart that obviously is public, which, like I said, might be different from the Vikings. But that's where I was really curious about Kwesi. And even beyond not drafting well, because look, we'll be honest here on this show, drafting is hard. It's hard. It's hard to get it right.
Yeah, but he makes it look like Mandarin sometimes.
Those 4 classes are really bad. And the trade pick value on our side of things is also bad. And I think that's a really tough sell to give him another draft class. And to be honest with you, Connor, I wouldn't do it. I would move on and I would hire a new general manager because there's just not a lot there.
I'm with you all the way. I have seen in 2 different seasons enough to believe Kevin O'Connell is a good coach. I now have a consistent history and sample size of Kwesi not handling their draft portfolio correct in terms of asset management or making the picks. And that's a harsh reality. I'm sure he's a really smart guy.
Yes. Yeah.
I applaud his road to the NFL as much as anyone in the league. Because I always like stories that aren't like, well, he was an intern and then he was an area scout and then he was a director and now he's a GM. Credit to those guys that grind. But I like that the league has gotten a little bit more creative, not much more creative, but a little bit more creative for outside the box thinkers that don't always develop those bad biases that some old school scouts do.
Mm-hmm.
But it just hasn't worked. And that's it. It was an interesting process or idea of a guy that hopefully looks at, roster building a little differently, but it just hasn't worked. But the problem is, Trevor, and I think you align with me on this, I do believe in the coach because I've seen enough that let's try a different regime constructing the roster for this coach.
Yep.
And O'Connell, too, another thing is, besides him himself, he has shown he knows how to hire a staff. This guy has Brian Flores coaching his defense. You know what I mean? He's had different coordinators or different assistants that are successful. So, yeah, it just feels like Kwesi has had enough opportunities and has let you down. And it'd be really disappointing if they give him another shot, he continues to be who he's been, and then everybody gets wiped out here.
Yeah.
Because I think O'Connell will go on and have success somewhere else if that happens.
Yeah. Kenneth gave us a super chat. He said 6 times $10 assets is better than 2 times $25 assets in economic theory, but it's definitely not in the NFL.
That's correct.
It's more darts to the dartboard. That is absolutely what you want. And I think that Kwesi's actually sort of played both sides of that coin, right? I mean, he played that true economic strategy and theory in that 2022 draft, and it obviously didn't work out big time. And then he played the opposite side of it for 2024, and obviously, it remains to be seen. And if JJ was playing better, that class looks so much better. But it's just been a struggle for them. The chat's telling us to don't forget about the UDFAs. I don't remember. Okay, so we got Benjamin Jurasik. Hell yeah, baby. This year. Tyler Beatty.
Pace was, right?
Yes, he was. Yes. I always attribute UDFAs to coaching staffs, though. Maybe I shouldn't.
They're often signed by area scouts. Usually, to pull back the curtain a little bit, and coaching staffs also obviously find those guys.
Right.
But how you typically get UDFAs is your area scouts are going into schools, they're watching practice, they're building relationships a lot of times, either if not with the actual player themselves, the agent of the player, and they call in rounds 5, 6, 7 and start almost pitching like a college program where, hey, let's get your guy in here. we have a 51, 52, and 53rd spot open on the roster. We're looking for a gunner. We're looking for a returner. We're looking for a third running back. And you're pitching them on that. So not to pile on, but all of the front offices that I've either talked to or known, I've never heard of a single team that the GM has anything to do with a UDFA ever.
Yeah, that process is too fast. It's too fast after
deep.
That to be the case. Yeah,
really deep. So yeah.
The chat's pointing out that you're 6'7" farming. I didn't even hear it, but
the freaking NFL draft is rounds.
How many rounds is it, Connor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then everybody gets really tired and takes a nap.
Here are some general manager candidates. I know some people in the chat are saying, "Hey, they just extended Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah." Extensions as general managers, in my opinion, don't mean anything when it comes to
people that own the Vikings. Oh man, they have a lot of money.
I mean, I don't think I don't think those extensions matter. If you want to move on from somebody, you can move on from somebody. Those don't really matter. I read an article from Jordan Rodriguez, who does an excellent job covering the league for The Athletic, and she was mentioning potential general managers that are sort of like next guys that could be in the next general manager cycle. And so I compiled a couple that I liked the most maybe for this job and specifically to work with Kevin O'Connell. Alec Hallaby, who is the right-hand man of Howie Roseman, Ian Cunningham, who has been in the Bears organization with Ryan Poles, Ed Dodds, we have talked about a ton as somebody who is a well-respected scouting eye in the industry, the assistant general manager for the Indianapolis Colts under Chris Ballard. Ryan Cowden is the VP of player personnel for the New England Patriots. I think I actually like him the most. The more that I read about him, he has an extensive scouting background himself. He has interviewed for different general manager positions in the past. And Connor, he was actually the guy. He was in Tennessee with the Titans. He was the guy that Mike Vrabel pounded the table for to be the general manager after John Robinson. And then ownership went with Rand Carthen instead.
That's the problem.
And now Ryan Cowden is in New England under Elliott Wolf. And so look, I'm going to be honest with you. If Mike Vrabel trusts you and thinks you're a good football dude for that position, I'm going to trust that because Mike Vrabel is a damn good football coach and he understands what it takes to win. And then the last one is Ray Agnew, who I know that you have brought up before.
Oh man,
when
he's
done
good.
This exercise. So
yeah. So
I was going to say, if I had my pick, I'd be taking Cowden or Ray Agnew, to be honest with you. One of those.
Right. Two. I would say on this list, Cowden is the least likely to leave, which is funny because he has the lesser title out of all of them. But he's stapled to Vrabel. That is Vrabel's guy. I honestly think, and this is me guessing or making an educated assumption, if Cowden got offered a GM job somewhere else, I think Vrabel would almost find a way in the New England organization to rework his title to stay in New England. I really do. Now, you never know. Like, there's only so many of these things out there. Agnew, I love. Agnew for the Lions gets a lot of the credit for building their lines on both sides of the ball. That's kind of his MO. A lot of people tell you that he is an excellent trenches builder and scout. Hallaby is regarded as one of the more out. The problem is we see a lot of regimes when they move on from one guy, they kind of go a different direction. Hallaby, though, is an outside the box thinker, analytics based, obviously more rounded than that, but very, very analytical. And then you have Cunningham, who's an old school scout, kind of came up the traditional way, the long road of scouting, as is Dodds, but Dodds has held a more senior title for a longer time than Cunningham. Dodds has helped run the Colts drafts with Ballard for a very, very long time. Dodds has had multiple GM interviews. It's just a matter of finding the right job.
Do you have a preference?
I think Agnew's the best evaluator. I think Hallaby is the most modern, but I don't think they'll go that way again.
I don't know if they will either.
I think Dodds would be the best at the job.
I think that there's a lot of people who like Cunningham as well in this.
He has a big reputation. I believe he's originally from that group that's like Joe Douglas and Ortiz and all of them. I'm pretty sure they were all kind of came up together.
I think I'd go Agnew because he was also
Agnew would be awesome.
He was with the Rams when KOC was with the Rams, I believe. Not that I don't know if they talked a lot, but I think they overlapped a bunch when they were with the Rams. So 1 year, maybe 1 year, it looks like they might have overlapped that 2020 season, but might have some familiarity there.
So the Ravens, the 2008 Ravens, if I have this right, Eric DaCosta was a director for them. Ozzie was obviously the GM. Joe Douglas was a national scout. Chad Alexander, who I think is Ortiz's assistant GM with the Chargers, was an area scout. I think Ortiz and Cunningham were both on that staff as well.
Damn.
Ortiz was a scout for the Ravens. That was the last year before he became a director. And then Cunningham was a personnel assistant. That was his first job. So the 2008 Baltimore Ravens are actually one of the biggest trees of higher end executives currently in the NFL today.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. So who would you pick? You said that Ed Dodds just does the job.
I would take Dodds. Okay. That would be the most rounded of the job. I think Agnew would, if it's just like, hey man, we need an evaluator. Kevin O'Connell's going to handle a lot of the rest. Agnew would be really good for this team.
Okay. All right. So I'll let you pick this one because the chat was very impressed with your knowledge, your extensive knowledge of the assistant GMs that are coming up. Peter, once again, reminding everybody that Connor has industry sources. It's very true. Garrett in the chat saying Ed Dodds was his choice there.
That's who I would go with.
All right, so let's go with Ed Dodds here as we are rebuilding the Minnesota Vikings. By the way, we're gonna get to a handful of super chats here in a second. But Brandon, $5 super chat said Trevor, met you in Charlotte a while back. You guys are the absolute best. What's up, Brandon? Good to hear from you, brother. Hope everything's going well. All right, I'm gonna read an ad, and Connor, you can prepare for some of these super chats
battle
that we're gonna battle of the super chats that we're gonna fire through. Parenting, folks. Filled with all sorts of high-pressure decisions. It can be difficult to tell if we've made the right choice for our kids' future, but here is a simple decision that you can make today that'll have a meaningful impact on your kids' future, opening up a UGMA Kids Investment account with Fabric to start their investment journey and give them a financial head start. Fabric by Gerber Life was designed by parents for parents to make it easy to plan for and manage your family's financial path. With the Kids Investment account, you guys can start investing in your child's future today. Kids can't invest while they're minors, but a specific UGMA Kids Investment account allows you to invest on their behalf. Gives their investments so much more time to grow. Funds can be used for anything. Summer camps, after-school activities, books, tuition, whatever that is. Maybe when they're a little younger, and then when they're a little older, young adults, maybe you're helping them buy their first house, their first car, start a business, whatever that looks like. No contribution limits on it. It's got multiple tax advantages. It's SIPC insured up to $500,000. There's no commission fees to it. Just a low flat monthly maintenance fee. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Start investing in your child today at meetfabric.com/ what's the stock exchange promo? Sorry, I lost it. Stock exchange. I wondered if there was an NFL in there. Meetfabric.com/ stock exchange. MEET fabric / stock exchange. Portfolios are managed by Fort Washington Investment Advisors Incorporated. Additional services provided by Apex Clearing Corporation. All investing is subject to risk. You guys can learn more at meetfabric.com. By the way, there are over 1,000 people watching this show live.
Amazing.
You guys are incredible. We love you. If you're watching this show live, if you're a Vikings fan, tuning in for the first time, checking out NFLSE, and you're not subscribed, we'd love for you to be. Join the addicts. Join the community. We'd love for you guys to join the community. Join us when we do these Fix Your Franchise. We will spend the exact same amount of care and detail going into our prospect rankings, which is the meat and cheese of this show here as an NFL draft show. And so if you guys aren't subscribed, we would love for you to be. So check if you are. It's a free way to help support this show, and we would absolutely love you for it. So we appreciate you guys. Want to hammer out some of these super chats before we get to the roster here?
Yeah, couple super chats.
All right,
Axel MTG, how much trade compensation would Joe Burrow cost? Even if it's just a thought experiment for first, 4 seconds, players, and maybe thirds as well.
You can only trade 3 years in advance. So you would basically have to Mike Ditka, Ricky Williams, all 7 rounds for 3 straight years to probably start the conversation for Joe Burrow. And even then, That is never happening. Sam, $2 super chat. Kyle Drake May, Monungai.
Hell yeah.
I know that you appreciated that one. Josh,
love
$5
that.
super chat saying, being stuck between JJ McCarthy and Max Grossmer, tough situation. Hey, KOC, like we said, could suit up. Could potentially suit up.
Maybe. He might have to, as Teddy Long said.
Obama been booling.
Okay.
$10 super chat. Thanks for pumping this garbage truck. I would like to call my favorite site team Wash Your Hands Trey. It's about to get dirty. That's true. It has. Make sure you have plenty of Uncrustables, Connor. Just making sure that you
haven't had one today, but post-show Uncrustable will hit.
Yeah.
Zach Carty, Scott Satterfield to Kentucky, free Brendan Sorsby.
Oh, interesting.
Sorsby definitely needs another year.
Yeah, and I think he'll transfer somewhere. Solensi, $2 super chat. If Arch Manning comes out, are we taking him as a Ram?
With the Falcons pick.
Damn.
That'd be electric. Josh Rebar, thank you for the super chat. Number 6, 7, 8, and 9, now all unusable. Between brain rot, 7 eating 8, and JJ McCarthy. That's actually like really funny because he's right.
We're
We're running out of usable numbers.
Wub, as he always is, in the chat, $2 super
there
chat.
He is.
Snowmeyer on Saturday.
Yes.
Got that 8W for you there, Connor.
Dante, it really did. I was applauding in my living room. Dante65, thank you for the super chat. The champs are here. You guys have made learning about other teams fun. As a Jets fan, I believe the New York Jets.
Jets. Yeah,
yes. Or maybe your wife's name is Jess. I don't know. I don't really care about the Vikings, but I'm going to sit and watch this entire show. Hell yeah. Thank you, Dante. That's awesome.
Thank you.
We love that.
$2 super chat from Andy. UK Sicko here. Shout out to the people across the pond tuning in. Trey J. Jettas for 3 firsts. And Jets it? The Jets strategy of just acquiring picks.
Yeah, but the Jets didn't have a Justin Jefferson to trade.
That's true. I have some thoughts on a Justin Jefferson trade, which I'll get to in a second.
Obama again. This pod is the Audric Estime of Alfred Collins of Bishop Fitzgerald's. That's big.
The Audric Estime of Alfred Collins of Bishop Fitzgerald's.
Lil Sketty says I would trade 9 first-round picks for Burrow.
Yeah, I bet you would. Honestly.
Jonathan, what would the Vikings record be with Daniel Jones at quarterback?
Daniel's regressed heavily over the last 3 weeks.
He's definitely hurt, like really hurt. It's not running.
I mean, we're at least 2 wins more.
Yeah, I'll give him 7 wins.
Yeah, I'd probably give him.
Don't.
Probably give him 7 wins.
Right.
Law $5 super chat. KOC arguing with the team doctor about whether he's legally liable if Carson Wentz dies on the field. I don't think he is. So yeah, we can.
No, he's not.
100%.
Parker, thank you for the super chat. Vikings are probably a game or two above 500 right now with the top 30 quarterback play this season. It's been the most hopeless football I've ever watched, brother. If you think this is bad, you have no idea. You think this is the most hopeless football you've ever watched?
What's the meme of Mel Gibson in Passion of the Christ? And he's like talking to the director, and he's got all
the
like,
makeup,
the blood and the crown of thorns and everything, and he's talking to the director, and it's basically like you're like Vikings fans are the director, and they're talking to you as a Jets fan, and you're just like, yeah.
Tell me how hopeless it is.
Okay,
I'd love to hear.
$5 again from Obama. Wow. Just
unloading the wallet.
Finally made a Pimp Your Franchise live, and it's my beloved Vikings. Much love from the Sex Addicts. We appreciate you. Joshua, $10 super chat. Love the work that you do. Just want to say Jets, Jets. 3 of the last 5, Connor.
They're hot.
Continue to build brick by brick. Continue to find that sustainable success. They're not even going to have an option to pick a quarterback. Like, do they take one this year or not?
No,
they're going to
won too many games.
Yeah, they're going to win too many games.
Sorry for winning all the time.
Yeah.
Kelton Williamson, wellness check for my boy football analysis.
Sorry for winning all the time, you said.
Sorry for being a winner of 3 of 5.
All right, let's get back to it. Because we got to make sure that we got to hit the mock draft as well. So let's get to the offense that I have, the projected offense here. Quarterback, question marks. I have JJ McCarthy in there, obviously, because I think he's going to be on the team. Running back, Who knows? Justin Jefferson's still here. Jordan Addison's still here. TJ Hawkinson, maybe I'll get to that in a second. Jalen Naylor, maybe I'll get to that in a second. Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill, Donovan Jackson, Will Fries, and then Ryan Kelly, maybe, probably not, though. So you're probably looking at filling one starting center spot, a starting running back spot, potentially a starting quarterback spot, and then we'll kind of talk about tight end and wide receiver. How's that look to you, Connor?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. They tacked on a little extension when they traded for Jordan Mason. So I know he's not their prototypical lead back, but he'll be one of their running backs next year with the way they structured the contract.
So before we head over to defense, I wanted to throw these options out to the good people. We got a couple different ways that we could go about this quarterback situation because we both agree. JJ's on this team. Well, I don't want to speak for you, actually. I don't know if we've talked about this here on this show. It might have been a different show I was on. I think JJ's on this team next year.
Yes.
Not like JJ's not on the team. But you can't go into next year with it being just him.
Dude, you'd be selling so low if you move him now.
So here are the options that I have. And, being the chicken wing connoisseurs that we are, this is how I see it stacked up. The mild option, you sign Jimmy Garoppolo, sign Davis Mills. Both those guys are free agents. Bring back Kirk Cousins because I think he gets cut from the Falcons. I think they're just going to post June 1 cut him. So I think that he'll be available. And you can throw in Jameis here if you wanted to as well. I don't really think that Jameis is KOC's style of quarterback, but you could throw him in there as well. So just wings? Yeah, so just wings. So those are the mild options that we have there. The medium options, we're getting a little more spicy here. You sign Daniel Jones, who was in the building.
Yeah, knows his way around the place.
Now you can bring him back, depending on how he finishes with the Indianapolis Colts. That will depend on what the price tag is there because he only signed a 1-year deal. Trade for Anthony Richardson. What would it cost, Trev? I have no freaking clue. No idea. But you can look into it. It won't cost too much. You could entertain it. And then this is also where the trade for Mac Jones situation comes in. You've got a couple of extra day 3 draft picks here. If you moved on because Mac Jones is under contract next year with the 49ers.
Is Davis. Davis Mills had a sneakily a year tacked on to his.
Oh, he did?
I forgot about that. Yeah, he had a year. Oh. They gave him a 1-year extension and added like new money into it. But it's all, I think it's all guaranteed. So the Texans, he's their backup next year.
Okay. All right. Okay. So sub him with Jameis, I guess, for the options there.
Yep. Jameis also has a sneaky 1 more year left. Dude, all these backups signed 2-year deals. All of them. Jacoby Brissett.
They signed Jameis to a 2-year deal to be the inactive quarterback?
Dude, and it's genius now because now they have a great backup for Jackson Dart next year. Joe Shane's committed a lot of sins. That was one of the smartest things he's done.
Peter says Parmesan garlic goes hard.
People really like Parm garlic.
Hand up.
What, if you like it?
I don't.
It's not something I order.
I know.
If it's out in a buffet,
sure.
But
sure,
I would never.
But my bar for what you just said is so low.
Yeah.
If you tell me, hey, this is out for you in front of a buffet, I'm probably eating most things. Just going to be honest with you.
That's exactly right.
But order garlic parm wings, it'd have to. I don't think.
It's hard to pass on better options.
Yeah, lemon pepper elite. You're right, guys. Okay, the Mac Jones trade, I think, is the one that makes the most sense.
I completely agree. He would want to go there.
What'd you say?
He would want to go there.
100% he would. Yes. The hot bar here for chicken wing quarterback strategies is drafting a first-round quarterback, depending on where you end up picking. If you're in the top 10, Mendoza, Moore, Simpson, one of those guys. If Arch is in this class, he's in that conversation as well. The habanero level is signing Kyler Murray because I think that you could probably just wait out the Cardinals to cut him as opposed to having to trade something for him. But if you would have to trade something for him, his contract is so big that you wouldn't have to trade a lot for him. That gets tricky for the Vikings. I'll talk about that in a second. And then the Ghost Pepper one is trading for Trevor Lawrence, which at this point in time, the Jags are competing for the division. They're probably going to be competing for the division until the very end. I think that this one is very, very unlikely at this point. So those are my quarterback wing flavor options. And I actually think the one that makes the most sense that we should pursue is them trading for Mac Jones, to be honest.
Yep. I think it's realistic. I think it's practical. And I think it makes sense for both sides.
Yeah. So there we go. Okay. So we're signing Mac Jones then. So it's Mac Jones and JJ McCarthy there. The projected starting lineup on defense: Jonathan Grenard, Dallas Turner, John Allen, Jalen Redmond, who's playing really well, Blake Cashman at linebacker, Eric Wilson, he's a free agent, but you could bring him back. Byron Murphy, Isaiah Rodgers is under contract, but like, do you feel good enough about how he has played? I think that you could also have a slot option if you want, although Byron Murphy plays in the slot and on the outside. But Josh Metellus, that's on me, by the way. I didn't catch the typo there.
Josh.
But that's what I'm calling him from now on. And then you have another safety spot there as well. Look good?
Yes.
Okay. Team needs.
Pretty clear what we need to go into the draft for.
Quarterback, running back, corner, safety.
Right.
We brought in Mac Jones here because we think that's most realistic.
And now he's competing with 9 over summer.
He is.
So we're not probably drafting a quarterback.
No, right. In this, we're not drafting one here because I genuinely think like Mac Jones, Big Josh, but Josh.
Belucci Josh.
Come on, Peter.
That's Peter.
Come on, Peter.
Dude, he pays for the pod. I have to read his stuff.
That's true. Somebody said B. Josh Robinson. It's pronounced Biash. You guys are amazing. I love you all.
Dumbest stuff. It's amazing.
So the cap space, here we go. I'll make quick work of this so we can get into the mock draft. Right now, they have negative $51 million in effective cap space. That's 30th most in the NFL. Not great. They only have 41 players as well under contract, which I say only, but that's kind of around what you normally have. The cut candidates that we have here, Ryan Kelly immediately saves you $12 million, and they'll do that because he's been dealing with concussions. They will cut him. They'll get the $12 million. Aaron Jones saves you $7 million, so they'll get that. There's $19 million right there. TJ Hawkinson, if you cut him, you save $8 million, but in all reality, like they'll probably rework his deal and be able to save a lot more. Yep. He'll probably still be on the team next year. And then Javon Hargrave saves you another $11 million as well. And Jalen Redmond's outplaying him right now with Hargrave being above age 30. So without really doing much at all whatsoever, that's $30 million that you can create like that. So it gets you close to negative $20 million that you have under the cap. And when I looked into all of these contracts, guys like Jonathan Grenard, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Andrew Van Ginkel, Brian O'Neill, Christian Darrisaw, all of these guys that are very likely to be still on the team next year. The only one who wouldn't be would probably be Hawkinson, but I still think he is. You restructure all of those guys and you go from being negative to having like 20-ish million in cap space that you could work with. So they're not going to be super active in free agency like they were last year, but the way that they have done all of their contracts with void years and with no guaranteed money for some of these guys over the next couple of seasons is to rework them and get under the cap. I just say that for Vikings fans to look at it because it looks really intimidating when you look at their cap space. It is very easy for them to get cap compliant and even have some money to spend here. So
well said. Yeah. They're going to be able to get out of this hole and even make some minor moves.
Yeah. With that said, let's throw up the mock draft simulator.
Oh, hell yeah.
Let's get into it. Oh, we go to free agents that are right there just because so Tyler can show them. Actually, I think they're going to bring back Eric Wilson because he's been playing well. He overtook Ivan Pace's spot, so I think they'll bring him back. Ivan Pace Jr. will be back because he's a restricted free agent. Jalen Redmond will be as well because he's an
just tender them
rights.
A low amount. Yep.
Yeah. I'm not bringing Jalen Naylor back.
Well, no, you need to start getting cheaper at wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why you drafted Ty Felton. Unless a new GM comes in and is like, I don't think he's any good. I'm going to re-sign Jalen Naylor instead.
I just don't think that that's going to happen.
No.
I don't think that that's going to happen. Okay, let's dig into the mock draft simulator. Let's do a 3-round mock draft here because the Vikings have all 3 of their picks. So right now, just to recap, we got Kevin O'Connell is still the is still the head coach here. Ed Dodds is the general manager. We brought in Mac Jones. It's a quarterback competition for JJ McCarthy. We're probably trading, I don't know, I don't think they're going to want to give up anything above a 4th, so it might take like a couple of picks, but we'll keep the first, second, and third round picks for this exercise. So let's enter the draft. We probably have a cornerback need. We have a safety need. We probably have a center need, although they have Michael Juergens who can step up. I think they have Jake Brendel as well, if I remember correctly. But they have these guys available to step in at center if they wanted to. But let's fire it up. Picking at number 11. Oh, there he is, brother.
Yeah, staring you in the face, huh?
There he is. There he is. Just locked onto a staring contest right here. It's none other than Notre Dame running back, Jeremiah Love. I think the Vikings fans have been clamoring for him as an option for them in the first round. I understand that, a lot of teams or a lot of people don't like drafting running back in the first round, but dude, I think that this dude's different. And especially if you have Mac Jones at quarterback, if you have Jeremiah Love in the backfield, if
you need a good run game.
Hawkinson, Addison, Justin Jefferson, and that offensive line with KOC, man, I think things can get like that. I think this offense can get fixed like that. How do you feel about it?
I love it. And I think this is one where his big playability being inserted into this offense in both the run and pass game is going to be so quarterback friendly. So, I mean, if we're going to we should do 2 mocks. We should do one with Love and we should do one without.
Okay. All right. Alfie said, go ahead, Trevor, take Kenyon Sadiq. We won't, I can't remember what exactly it was, but it was basically,
we won't get mad.
We won't get mad. There you go. All I'm saying, folks, Tyler Warren on the Raiders, and they're better this year.
You ever hear a thing called 12 personnel?
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. All of you, look me in the eye. Tell me I'm wrong. And because of that, we're taking Kenyon Sadiq here. No, we're not. I'm just kidding. let's take Jeremiah Love. And then, like you said, we'll do another draft where we're not taking a running back with a top 12 pick, because I know some people will think that that's fun. So 43, this is, what are we thinking here?
DB.
Who's a corner? Yeah, can we see corners here?
Might have to go with a safety.
Well, I have no problem taking AJ Halsey here.
That's kind of who I was looking at.
The safety from LSU. Yeah. He had I thought he had a really good game. Can you click on his name? Yeah. He did great well versus Oklahoma. He had another interception in this game. I just think he's a stud, man. He hits like a Mack truck. He's got great instincts when he's in robber roles. He can come down and get plenty of interceptions for you, like we have seen this season, and we've seen from him throughout his career. I think he's a stud starting safety. I really do.
And look at the versatility on the snap alignment. I mean, he plays the slot, he plays in the box, and he plays a lot of true free.
Yeah. So I think he's an option there. Chris Johnson, potentially. I think Chris Johnson actually really fits well with Brian Flores, because Brian Flores, if he's still going to be the defensive coordinator, he likes to blitz heavy and play zone, and Chris Johnson has been excellent this year at being an off zone corner. He's somebody who can really manipulate space, knows the timing of when to come down and break on the ball and break on routes. I think Chris Johnson's been excellent this year. So I would think about him here as well. We've got some love for Big Citrus, as we obviously always do here on this show. You like Emmanuel McNeil Warren as well. Would you consider him at 43?
No, that's early. I would think more third round for him.
Oh, we have two third round picks.
Yeah, I would like McNeil Warren one of the 3s. If I was going that route.
Maybe we pick Chris Johnson here and get the corner.
And go safety later.
And try to, and I think we'll have the ability to get a safety. Yeah, let's go Chris Johnson here. And then for safeties, we're at 76 now. I don't think McNeil Warren made it.
Yes,
he did. All right, we have the ability to take him. Connor, talk to the good people about him.
Yeah, McNeil Warren, you got length, you got range. He's a big hitter. He can come down in the box and help and run support. He can match up with tight ends. So someone to me that's played a lot of roles at Toledo. He's forced, I think, 8 fumbles in the last 3 years. Like, this guy makes plays. So, and you're once again going to see some snap versatility there as both a strong safety and a free safety. So, McNeil Warren, a traitsy kind of player out of Toledo. Tell me if you've heard that before with their DBs.
Charlie just said Toledo becoming DBU.
It's insane. It's insane.
Okay, let's take McNeil Warren here, and then let's go full best player available
I like
for our pick here at 97.
Big
I think
Christmas.
it was. Well, I think that Peter in the chat was saying, you know, do you just take like Drew Aller? Like, do you take like another quarterback just to get him in that rotation?
Aren't your developmental reps going to go to JJ though? Or am I correct? Like,
I would agree with you.
I don't think
I'm not taking quarterback here.
No.
Isaiah World was there, and for as much as I'm skeptical, I've been skeptical on Isaiah World as a high draft pick. I don't mind him as a developmental draft pick.
Right. This is a place where he could actually sit and develop as a swing tackle.
Yeah, because what's their, let's see.
He hasn't been as good as I had hoped for coming into the year.
No, and I think it's just a lot of.
It's a big step up.
Yeah, it really is. They're losing Justin School, so they have Walter Rouse, who could be that backup offensive tackle. I don't hate taking Brian. Well, Brian Parker could be an option, like if you wanted a potential center, like long-term center.
Right. That makes sense.
I think I'd just go Isaiah World, to be honest with you.
Highest ceiling.
Yeah. Just taking a swing on an offensive tackle. Because what's Brian O'Neill at? How old is he?
He's got to be up there now.
Yeah.
Feels like he's in his early 30s. Yeah, he turned 30 in September.
Okay, so he is 30. Let's take Isaiah World here. Let's do World.
I like that.
And I think that this is a really solid Vikings draft, to be honest with you. Jeremiah Love, Chris Johnson, I think those guys are two starters for you. Emmanuel McNeil Warren could also be a starter for you. And Isaiah World, you could potentially feel good about getting him as a developmental offensive tackle there at number 97.
Needs and value, right? Like that's kind of what we hit here.
Matt is saying Love and no interior offensive line is a choice. I mean, they have Will Fries and Donovan Jackson.
Maybe he means the long term of center.
Yeah, but they have Michael Juergens and Blake Brendel. Like both of those guys can play center for you.
Well, we're going to do another mock draft. Maybe we do go IOL at some point.
Mr. Coleslaw's $5 super chat. As a Bears fan, could we not fix the Vikings? Hey, shout out to the Bears. They're playing well in first place right now. Okay, let's do another mock draft here. We won't go with Jeremiah Love. We will go with a different position here in the first round to see what that looks like here for them. Mansour Delane is there. I think that's probably our pick.
No, I would take McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
These are your rankings.
No, 100%. I just didn't even think of him being there. I was just locked into Mansour Delane.
You're getting an injury discount on an incredible cover corner here.
Yeah. I think that I think Jermon McCoy is awesome, man.
Phenomenal player.
His tape last year, in my opinion, is CB1 in this draft. And Mansour Delane has also been fantastic.
Yes, he has.
So that's been great. But all right, let's take McCoy here. Let's take McCoy.
High-end corner added to this team.
Oh man, Keith Abney made it in this one.
Do you just take Sarafeld and feel like you just have a damn good player for the offensive line? Or have we done that too many times? Wait, no, we didn't take Halsey last time. We should take Halsey here.
We could take Halsey here.
Are we just too DB centric?
No, because I think it is their biggest area of need. And then maybe see if we can get a defensive tackle. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. Let's take Halsey here because I think there's a chance that we get the other Notre Dame running back.
Jadarian Price.
Yes. Halsey, the singer? Yes. I've seen a couple people say Jeremy Bernard in the chat. They're not going to take a wide receiver.
These people are obsessed with a wide receiver.
I know. Okay, so Jadarian Price is there. Blake Miller is also there. And
I really like Jadarian.
You do?
Yeah, I really do. I think he is a exceptional talent.
The player I would actually pick here is Nicky Prongos, the offensive tackle for Stanford, but I feel like we do that quite a bit because he is the perfect developmental offensive tackle. He doesn't have to play right away here. He sits behind Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. Like he, to me,
I don't mind it, and then we'll see if we get a running back anyway.
Okay, we might be able to get Fat Man later.
Which was Jordan Mason is kind of that role, but
well, would you rather? Can you scroll up, Tyler? Skylar Bell, if Addison's traded, okay, sure, yeah. I mean, if
but we didn't do that in this exercise.
Jack Endries for I think they have backup tight end, don't they?
Yeah, they have a really, really good blocking tight end.
Oh, Benjamin Urosic's also
right. Am I bugging?
Ooh, Carter Smith could be a starter at center for them.
That's actually really. He has the body more.
That's what I've been saying since summer, man. He's a good player.
Credit to Indiana for just squeezing the most out of every guy they can. But yeah, more of an interior body. Josh Oliver was the tight end too I was thinking of on this.
Oh, team. Yeah.
They just paid Josh Oliver. Yeah, I get what you're saying with Carter Smith here. He's not playing tackle in the NFL.
No, but he could start for you at center.
Right.
I kind of like that.
Let's do it.
All right.
Then I want a running back with some juice.
Okay. All right. Carter Smith, he started center for you. Running back with some juice.
I bet Price probably is still here.
No, I don't think he is.
Don't love how this broke. Although, admittedly, I need to watch Claiborne and Stewart a little more.
Claiborne runs pissed off, man. I like him. Quintravian Weisner has also been good.
Yes, he has.
I think he's a legit option at 97.
Okay.
He's been real. I think he's been really solid for Texas. Yeah, can you click on him, Tyler? Yeah, he's just been steady for them. Peter saying Hollywood Smothers in the chat. I just don't think Smothers gets drafted this high.
He's gonna be a later day 3 kind of guy.
Yeah, he's just too small. I would do Damone Claiborne or Katron Allen, to be honest with you.
Fat Man's the best running back available.
Okay, let's take
He is. He can pass protect. He runs hard. He's got good feet for his size. Katron Allen for everybody at home.
Sam is saying Jade Knott, obviously, he's got the freshest legs. Unfortunately, yes. Kid's talented, man. I have no idea what happened in Oklahoma. No idea.
Nobody knows.
Okay, so there we go. Jermon McCoy, AJ Halsey, Carter Smith, Katron Allen. I like that as well. Let me know, guys. What do you think? The first haul or the second one? Second one, Jermon McCoy, AJ Halsey, Carter Smith, Katron Allen. First haul was Jeremiah Love, Chris Johnson, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, and then Isaiah World. Those are the picks that we had there. Most of the roster's coming back because, like we talked about earlier in the Fix Your Franchise, this roster's pretty damn good. I know it doesn't seem like it because they don't have a quarterback, but I think the roster's pretty dang good, and I think it could be a pretty quick turnaround here. We got Ed Dodds, the general manager. We got Mac Jones in at quarterback, and then we've got that class that we had there at with the 3-round, mock draft. So you guys can choose which one.
It's fun to fix a good team.
It is fun. It is kind of fun to fix a good team.
It was a little bit more cut and dried than usual, and it was all about the draft after that.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about the executives today, which we don't always do on this show.
That's very true. Appreciate you guys watching the show. We love you. If you guys are subscribed, thank you for being an addict. If you are not yet, we would love to have you as part of the family. Make sure you check and see if you can. And it's a free way to support the show. So we really appreciate you being part of the Addicts. By the way, speaking of being a part of the Addicts, the Discord is under construction, folks. We're going to be launching that bad boy soon. We're going to have a space where all the addicts can talk about football, even independent of when these shows go live. So that is in the works. We're setting that up for you guys. Hopefully we're getting that to y'all soon and we can chat with you all the time. And you guys can obviously continue to chat with each other because it's always fun seeing you guys go back and forth. So yeah, the Discord is in the works, folks. So be on the lookout for that. If you want to follow the show on socials at NFLSC Show on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, all that good stuff. I'm at Tampa Bay Trey. That's Connor J. Rogers. So, yeah, if you can follow us there if you want to as well. We're going to have another fixture franchise for you on Wednesday. Not sure which one yet because we're getting a lot of requests for a lot of different teams. So it might just be the highest requested team wins for that one. But
kind of how it goes now.
Connor, anything else before we get out of here?
Peter, thank you for the super chat. I will not say the amount, but F it, we ball.
Somebody said reading the super chats afterwards. Yes, I will do that. Connor's got to run. He's got another show because he's famous and everybody wants him on every single show possible. But I will be reading the leftover super chats here for the next 15, 20 minutes if you guys want to stick around for it. But for the chef, Tyler Cook, behind the glass, producing the show. For Connor Rogers, I'm Trevor Sikkema saying thank you guys so much for once again watching the NFL Stock Exchange. See you guys next time.